Hello again, YouTube. This is a video I shot on the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and my plan for avoiding the crowds at the shopping malls was to head out to the airport and go flying. Apologize for the date stamp on here. That was left on from the last time I flew, which was World Ultralight Fly-In Day, and I needed a date stamp to send in a photograph to prove that I'd been in the air on that day. We're pulling up here to hold short line. Had a little glitch with the radio. The connectors were not plugged in completely, so I wasn't transmitting. I could tell that in my headphones, so got that sorted out, and now we're ready to start a takeoff roll. It's a nice day. It's maybe temps in the mid 60s, winds 5 to 8 miles an hour from the northwest. It had been foggy earlier in the day, and dense fog pretty much, and the fog had lifted around noon. I kind of gave it a little while longer and did a little work on the airplane and decided to go flying. So we're going to get out on the runway here and give it the throttle, and doesn't take long. It's a couple 3 seconds to get up to speed, although with the Thanksgiving dinner I had yesterday, I think my gross weight is a little higher than normal, so it might have taken a few more feet to get off the ground. See a buzzard on the left-hand frame there. There was quite a few of them up. There was a little bit of lift in the lower, below 500 feet. The inversion layer was up at about 500 feet, and buzzards were hanging around down low. So we climb out and start to make a turn to the east. My plan was to go in search of some remnants of the fog layer to see if there was some low clouds I could get above. Makes for some interesting visuals. So I let the camera out. The first part of this video, you'll see several different camera positions. This one is really tight in. It kind of makes it more interesting. You see different views of the airplane with the camera at different distances. Here we're maybe 4 or 5 miles east over by the Sacramento River, and as I had hoped, there is a little bit of lingering fog still remaining here, just the last bits of the morning fog layer burning off. So we're just above the little puff here that we're passing over. I'm going to make a left turn, come back around to get a better sun angle on it. It shows up better when you're looking up sun towards the clouds rather than down sun as we are now. You can see the countryside is greening up nicely. We've had some rains here. Our fall rainy season has kicked in and killed off all the fires that we had. It was a bad year for fires in California. There were a lot of days it was just too smoky to fly, and I'm glad to see the end of the fire season most years, but particularly this year. And there you can see that same little puff that we flew over with a better, more better lighting. Got a nice little flare coming out from under the wing there. Gonna head over towards the river a little more and check out what's going on down there. And I don't know if you can see it yet, but there's a fishing boat coming upstream. River flows downstream to the right here, and the boat's coming upstream. Going to let the camera out a little more. I thought it might be better to see the scenery. It was such a pretty view rather than so much of the airplane. I'll do a few S-turns here to kind of get the picture a little better from different angles. There's some nice sun off the river there. You can see that boat a little better that's coming upstream. You see the cloud layer in the distance, the low clouds. It's hardly even clouds, it's just the remnants of the fog. So I was looking around for where to go next, and I saw a bit thicker bit of cloud off to the southeast here. Thought I'd head down that way and check that out. I've got a friend with a private strip there in that area too, which you can see it's a little bit faint, but it's off to the lower left corner, and you see that bit of asphalt that's pointed right at the lower left corner of the frame. That's my friend Ed's place. This is down near Vina in Central California, or the Central Valley of California. So my plan, I thought, well, I'll go check out these little puffy clouds down here to the south, and then we'll come back around and drop in on Ed, see if anybody's around there. The fields below me are greening up nicely. This is some country that water's standing in a lot of the places down here. There's hard pan soils in this part of California that trap the water. It can't infiltrate very far down, just maybe 5 or 6 feet down into these hard pans, and then it stops. So these tend to green up really early in the spring and or in the fall rather. And as I got to looking down there, it's flat enough you could land on, but there's standing water in a lot of places, and those vernal pools are sensitive environments, and you can't drive through them. Or, you know, I was thinking, well, if I landed there, I might not be able to get in and get the airplane till springtime. So I thought, well, stay closer to the road and get back over towards Ed's place. Fish and Wildlife Service takes it really seriously if you damage some of those vernal pools with vehicle traffic. We're coming back around to the north here. This is the kind of weather where you got to worry about carburetor ice. Two-strokes typically don't have carb heat, and they don't ice up very often. I've read that it can happen, but this would be a day. You know, the temperatures, carb ice is actually more common at warmer temperatures. There's not enough moisture in the air when the temperature is below freezing, but these were temperatures at my altitude of, you know, probably high 50s, low 60s. 100% humidity, so this was an opportunity. Coming into Ed's here, you got to fly low across the road to get into the strip, so I got to look for car traffic and airplane traffic. But got it in fairly short. I didn't use the brakes on this, just let it roll out. The airplane has bicycle brakes on it from a mountain bike, which are really not made to stop something as heavy as a fully loaded airplane, but they do a decent job. I do have to replace the brake pads fairly often. I'm going to turn around and taxi back towards Ed's house here. You see the windsock just hanging limp. It was pretty much dead calm. Nice day for flying. And if you lived here, you could taxi right into your hangar. I believe the place is for sale too, so check it out. Ed wasn't home, so I going to head back out and do some more flying. Got another lucky break here. The camera turned towards the airplane as I was getting ready to taxi out, so I just left the footage here. I can't control which way it turns, so it just swings around on its own. Once I start moving, the wind makes it streamline back towards, so the camera's pointed forwards, and the drogue aligns with the oncoming wind as the airplane starts to move. So we're off the ground again with plenty of runway left in front of us. Get up a couple hundred feet to where I feel safe to reel the camera out. I like to keep the camera in case I have to do, you know, if the engine were to quit and I needed to make a quick landing, I wouldn't have time to be messing around, rutting that camera back in. So usually whenever I'm below 200 feet, I try to have the camera up underneath the wing, so I don't have to worry about it. It wouldn't hurt the airplane, but I really don't want to have to buy a new camera. Now I'm just about straight east of Corning. I've been on the east side of the river on the flight back here. I'm going to turn back towards the river now and head back towards the airport. You'll see a little piece of the river glinting in the sun over the left-hand side of the frame, and that's where we're going to head towards. It was the same area that we were in earlier where you saw the boat coming up the river. There's that gravel bar, that big gravel bar with a lot of riparian forest on it, and there's some pretty fall colors down there I wanted to highlight. Can't see them with this sun angle, so we're going to fly a little bit beyond it and then do a 360 so you can get a better view of the color down on the sandbar. It's gravel bar, actually. It's cobbles and gravels. The big river. There's a lot of water goes down this river in a flood. So now we're starting 360 to the right here. There is a good view of the trees down on the gravel bar there. You can see some of the colors. It's mostly cottonwoods and willows, so you don't get the bright reds, but it's still a pretty scene. Sweeping on around to the east and now back towards the south, and we'll line up on the roads going west here when we come out of the turn. And you'll notice just as we come out of the turn, the camera hits the bump, which is the wake of the airplane. If you do a 360-degree turn and stay at the same altitude, you'll fly back through your own slipstream, so there's a little bump to be had. Here we're coming back into Corning Airport. I'm going to enter the downwind here on the east side of the airport. That's typically where the standard aircraft fly, and the ultralights fly off to the west, but there's no traffic here today. I'm coming in from the east, so I'm just going to fly on the east side on the right-hand pattern. Pulling the camera back in before I turn on the base leg here, again, so I can concentrate on flying rather than messing with the camera. So we're turning base. Always try to fly into the little space in between the houses here. Ultralights under Part 103 are not supposed to fly over congested areas, and I can avoid that by flying in a little tight pattern. Lining up on the runway. Didn't see any other airplanes out at Corning today. There was a little bit on the radio, but it was a quiet day in the air. Going to see how close I can put it to the numbers on the landing here. Bingo. And that was so much fun, I'm going to go around and try it again. I just decided to have one more go at it. This time I'll fly the pattern off to the west, making a left-hand pattern. So here we're turning from base to final, coming back in on the left-hand side. And we'll try one more time putting it on the numbers. And it wasn't quite where I wanted it, but wasn't too bad, so we're going to call that good. Call it a day. It sure beat shopping. Thanks for watching.